Okay, so we're live now.
No, we will be live at 7:05.
Okay. Okay. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today is day two of 360 Muslim Experts Bootcamp about research writing, and it has been a great, pleasant experience on day one with our respected guest, Dr. Umar. Let me introduce him to all the viewers who are new here. So, he has been a nominee as Young Scientist of the Year 2021 for the Michelson's Philanthropies Award in Immunology and Bio Innovation Institute and Science Prize for Innovation USA, and he has been an author of more than 20 papers in the field of science and Islam. So today we will be discussing about abstract writing. So Dr. Umar, kindly start now.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, let me confirm if I'm audible because it's very necessary. I guess
Yes,
so.
sir, you are audible.
All
Yeah,
right,
yes, sir.
thank you. So basically, the last time it was day before yesterday. It was an introductory session regarding basically the topic was abstract writing, but I tried to basically provide you with the people who had joined with the information regarding what exactly research is, because research is one of the things, one of the least understood things in my opinion, especially in our society, because people do not consider it of any value at all, with the reasons best known to them why they do this. But of course, it is the case, and it has to be explained to people in a manner that which is well understood. In my opinion, and what I have been doing for the past at least 4 5 years, I have always tried to make things as simpler and as easier as possible. In my opinion and my understanding, what research exactly is, just to give you a recap of what happened the day before yesterday. Number one, I explained what exactly research is. And for the people who have joined in for the first time, let me repeat it. In my opinion, it is an amalgam of three things, which is number one, curiosity. Number two, it is of course problem solving, necessity, and problem solving. These three things make up a research. Now that the point where we would understand research better, or the components of research in a better way, we would have to first understand why we need to do research. And for an individual, for a particular individual, it is also necessary to understand that why an individual needs to do research. would even waste his or her time in doing some research. And also I explained that it has to come up from inside you. Of course, there should be an inspiration. Without an inspiration, you cannot do anything. For example, if you're doing a degree, you have the inspiration of getting a degree, right? Without the inspiration of getting a degree, would you go to the college or university? You will not go. If you on the first day of your college or university, if you are told that you will not get a degree at the end of 2 or 4 years or 5 years, whatever, would you go to the university or the college for the next 3-4 years? Of course you will not go, because the inspiration is the degree. You will get something out of it. So if you do not have the inspiration to do research, then I'm afraid you will not be able to do it. Now, what exactly can be the inspiration? Just to give a recap in 5 minutes or so, that an inspiration can be anything that pleases your heart. For example, if for me it was something very personal, and also that in my field of medical science, and of course I then became a polymath. I did research in multi-disciplines. So there was initial inspiration was, of course, regarding the pain of people, seeing patients suffering, and I decided to do something. Of course, it pulled out, and I pulled it out with the help of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Of course, it's His blessings only. But at the end, I would say that you particularly need your individual or your particular inspiration for your own self. I cannot provide you with that. Maybe for some people, or most of the people, as I said last time around as well, that money can be one of the inspirations. Monetary benefits can be, and I did explain some of those benefits. But then, coming to the point that why would you waste your time, or people do consider or understand, especially for the students who are enthusiastic, who are the aspirants of research, their parents wouldn't understand that why our son or daughter would waste their time in research. Why? What's in there for them? For them, and for their sake, I would understand. Okay, they are trying to reason at why would our child waste time on this particular thing. In the Western academia, it is quite different, because for them, study is all about research. It is very different because of I was abroad recently as well, and I have been around, and I have been in contact with almost in all of the continent except for Antarctica. I have been in contact with almost all the continents, and the research experts, on the scientists of all these regions. And for them, their understanding of research or education as a whole, at the point of education is research. The point of education is learning something new. The point of education is not just getting the degree. It is for to build up something, to build up. That is the reason why they developed this system of doing a dissertation or a thesis, what we call in simple words. That, and they made it binding for a person. If they want to get a degree, they should do it. They should do a research work, and only then they would get a degree. But unfortunately, here on smaller levels, I think secondary levels, higher secondary levels, it is not a necessity. But I think at bachelor levels, at least there is something related to research. But then again, coming to the point now, this is, I think, it should be enough. Now that we have understood that why we need, and also there were time restraints. I wasn't able to describe a couple of drawbacks. Maybe I should start with them and then gone with my topic. Drawbacks of what? Drawbacks of basically choosing and a topic which is not ideal for research. This is one of the things. As I also told that choosing an ideal topic for research is very important, but unfortunately here on smaller level, I think secondary levels, it is not a necessity. But I think at bachelor levels, it is also, if you and if you end up choosing something which is not ideal, you have to understand the difference between a researchable topic and a non-researchable topic. For example, what happened 200 years ago might not be my concern at this right this moment. I write at this moment. It should not, or it would not benefit any of my my surrounding, or the people who are connected to me. I would not be very interested in knowing what happened 500 years ago. I'm not undermining the subject of history. History is important, but this is one of those subjects, according to me, in my understanding, it is not a researchable topic. It is something, all right, if you are an aspirant of history in the field of history, you can write a book. And there is a difference between a book and a research paper and a research work. So that is the reason why you should understand that you should write something and abiding by the norms of research. You should distinguish between a book and a research paper, an article meaning the columns which we read in newspapers. They're all different. They're all very different, and the nature of their basic the components and their nature in which they are written, it is also very different. So research basically have at least five components. One, I of course have already told, the inspiration and the inspiration and the brainstorming, and then choosing an ideal topic, and then coming to the abstract. I did tell something about literature review last time around, but now today, I have guessed the move that you maybe want to know about the abstract more. So let me, and I did tell it last time around as well, that abstract is something which cannot be defined pretty ideally. It cannot be defined ideally. Maybe if you Google the definition of abstract, it might give you something. But in my understanding, abstract is the main idea of your research. You cannot give the summary of the research before the research. You cannot give it, because the abstract has to be written before submission of the topic. Now, if you will write something up and submit it for you to the peers of the institute, or of course in a conference, or maybe somewhere and in a research journal, you first have to submit the abstract, and after that you go on to do the research. But basically, you have to understand that if you go and give the summary of all of your research, you are preoccupied. Your mind is preoccupied with the research. You you cannot do that as a researcher. Your mind should not be preoccupied with the results or the outcomes of the research already before doing before doing the research and coming to a particular point, a point which can be positive, which can be according to your presumption as well, but it cannot be according to your presumption or hypothesis as well. So this thing has to be taken in account. So it is not the summary, again repeating, it is the main idea, what you want to do, that you will tell, that it is a particular thing that you will tell in the abstract. Now my way of telling things, again I'm saying that it is quite simple. That is the reason why, and all of my academic career has been like this, that I have never taken notes in any of my classes. I have never noted down anything, maybe apart from a couple of things, maybe sometimes. And similarly, I am not the one who goes on and shares things. And reason why it is because I consider these things as distractions. Because if someone is telling you something, you need to listen to it, and you need to understand it first. And in case you want to note down something, you can note down in your mind. Why not use your mind? There are some techniques, people complain, and I guess for research you need more counseling rather than telling people how to do research. They can do it very well themselves. If you tell even a student of A levels or O levels or metric for that matter, what is research and how would you do it, maybe they will end up doing it. Maybe they will not follow an ideal methodology of doing research. Maybe they would be able to do it. You don't need to tell people how to read a book or how to do research. You need to tell them that what are the things you should avoid during the course of your research or during the course of your project. And one of the main things is avoiding all the distractions. What are the distractions? The distractions can be mental. Sometimes they can be in your mind. And if, in case that you are focused enough, in case that you are not focused, of course, focus is one of, again, the main things. And when I say that you need to have an inspiration, one of those inspirations is also a focus on research. If you're not focused, what are you going to do during the course of your research? You will not be able to do it the way it should be done ideally. So going on ahead, you need to just listen and counsel yourself, and counsel your own brain and mind, that to convince yourself to do research. And just to give an inspiration again, research can make you what a person can even dream of becoming, what Albert Einstein dreamed of becoming. did, and we all know his name. You ask even a third grade or fifth grader, even a kid from the kindergarten, maybe he would also know Einstein. Why so? He performed exceptionally well in his school or college or university. Was that the case? No, that wasn't the case. The thing which he did was research. His paper on general relativity and later on special relativity, general relativity was 6 pages, special relativity was 15 pages, a total of 21 pages, which changed the world. This is the impact of quality research. Even 6 pages can change to all of the thinking patterns. Or it can turn the world upside down. This is literally the impact of research, what impact it create. I think there can't be a bigger inspiration than that for a person who is looking for inspiration to do research. Coming to the point now abstract, in my opinion, and what the academic world at this particular moment right now is doing. Abstract used to be 7 to 800 words 50 years back, but now we are not 50 years back, we are in the present times, and we need to move on to the times ahead. And what is happening right now, an abstract is not more than 150 to 200 words, which means even lesser than a page, than a single A4 size page, maybe half of the page. You need to tell the idea that you have regarding your research project. Now, when you have chosen a project to do the research, you have chosen the project, you have brainstormed about it, you have consulted people about it, you have chosen the right topic. As I told you, you can choose some many of the tools as well, including the internet tool, the artificial intelligence. You can take the sorry, you can take the opinion or consultation of it as well, and it can give you some of very good, in my opinion, very good consultation. And after that, you are up to yourself now. You should now start thinking of your research. Where to start? Of course, you need to survey the literature. You need to see what exactly exists before it, before what I am about to do, what has happened in this particular field or topic before what I am aspiring to do. So when you would come down to that point, now you'll be able to understand that what is the gap. Is there any gap left? You will be able to know after surveying the literature. And after that, you will come to a point that you can now identify the gap. And when you identify the gap in research or gap in the particular field which you are about to research, you will now be challenged with writing an abstract, writing a main idea of your research. How to write it up? Again, 100 to 150 words are also enough sometimes. You should, there are some stereotypes regarding writing an abstract or even a research work that do not use the first person. I would say that using the first person is allowed, and it is recognized in international academia, Western academia, especially. Why I keep on referring to them is because that they are the ones who have introduced this system, and we are the followers. Why we are not becoming the leaders? This is a question that I'm leaving to all of you, and maybe if some of you can answer, or some of you would want to answer after this lecture, I will of course take out some time to listen to all of you as well. So starting with the point that how would you start the abstract? The abstract, of course, starts from the main idea of your topic, which is the title of your research work. Now that you have decided, for the sake of argument, you decided to write on different blood types, which can end up aligning or end up in specific diseases. Sometimes it does happen, because if you go by the statistics, we see that African regions have typical diseases. The Western regions have peculiar diseases as well. South Asian, Far Asian regions also sometimes develop some typical diseases. Because of why? Because of genetics, because of blood types, because of these reasons. and it is a researchable topic. That is why I'm referring referring to it. It is researchable. And you start with the topic and end up telling that I am going to research. Again, I am is first person. In previous times it used to be that you cannot use I am. You should say that this work will be done in this manner, like this. So you were prohibited to use first person, but now people are sort of respected. Personalities are respected, and researchers are also respected quite a lot. So they can use the first person. So you can say, I am doing this research in order to find out topic of your research, mention the topic in inverted commas, and then I will use this and this tool. The tool, of course, you need to mention the population and sample. As I have told you, maybe the people who attended the last session, they will know about what a sample is and what a population is. Sample, of course, is the point of the main word which occurs in your title. That is your sample. And population is the research, statistically talking. If some of you would know statistics, there are some things in statistics like mean, median, mode. They are used in, of course, the people who are here from the Department of Engineering, they would know more about it. Even I forgot that I'm not even talking to maybe the medical students, but also some of you might not be the medical students. For you, your research is basically applied research. What is an applied research? When you are about to do, maybe in the field of physics, you will need to furnish a theoretical research. What a theoretical research is, that you make up a new understanding or understanding out of a pre-existing concept and make it your own. Make a new understanding of your own, and then you come up with maybe your own name. You can name it after yourself, of course, and at the end you can of course attribute it to someone else as well. So this is how the applied research can also be done theoretically. Also the experimental research which I'm talking about, that should be mentioned in the abstract, that what form of research is about to be conducted. The form of research, if it is experimental, then you would be required to provide the tools of experimental research as well. And what exactly can be the tool? I'm not going into complications again. I'm repeating all of these words. Of course, if I think it is getting recorded, yes, it is being recorded. So, or it is not recorded. I'm not sure. Maybe if it is not, then you should note it down, or even though it is, if it is being recorded, and it might be available afterwards. So you do not need to, come up and, just keep on noting it. You should always understand that the tools of research basically are not going to a library and doing research in the library. Some of the times I have, also experienced, some spirited students, I should say spirited researchers. When I ask them about what tools are you going to use in your research, and they end up mentioning a particular library, that I will go to such and such library to do my research. Not a tool. A tool basically is the mean, using the means of research. What means are you going to adapt or use during the course of your research? This is a tool. For instance, if you are going to do an experimental research, your tools might be the instrument that you are using, and of course the ways through which you are going to get to these tools. The ways, of course, they can be multiple. They are not necessary to be mentioned in the abstract. They can be mentioned afterwards as well, because you can always give the data. You can always mention in data analysis techniques. There are certain different data analysis techniques as well, including the grounded theory, which I also mentioned, which is used in physics and mathematics. You can also use research paradigms, which I need to tell a little further in this discussion. Afterwards, you would need to provide with the tools, and afterwards you need to end it up by giving a tentative outcome of your research. The abstract, the components of abstract, I have told you, repeating again, you would start by explaining your title. What is the significance of it? In simple words, the significance of it. Then you will, of course, tell in simple words, not going into deep details, 100 to 150 words, maybe 200, okay. Not more than 200. I will not consider it ideal to go into 200 words. Maybe 150 words is fine. go to that point, you will now be requiring to explain the type of research you are going to conduct, and then the tools of research. And in the end, you will give a tentative outcome that what are you going to expectedly going to extract as a result of conducting this research. As a you need to do it. And is it going to be research which is going to benefit people or not? This is the first question that will be asked when you submit your research or your project to your peers or to your
Okay, maybe due to some
I think there was a
okay, so
technical issue. Apologies for it. There was a technical issue. So there wasn't, I
yeah,
guess,
sure, no,
30 seconds.
no problem. You can continue
All
now.
right, all right. So, all right. So once you are done with the abstract, now you come to the point of keywords. Keywords are it's a very simple thing. Of course, it's the world of internet, and people will like to research by using some particular keywords regarding, if I need to know about if I need to know about smallpox, I will use the word smallpox. So it is a keyword. I will not go and research about something. If you, there are some words which are very well renowned, the scientific terminologies. I'm not talking going into nomenclatures. Taxonomy is important, but again, there are only some technical names which are very, like for example, human beings. Their name is what? Homo sapiens. Everyone knows it. So this is somewhere you need to mention the name of human in your keyword, or human beings, or Homo sapiens, because it is well known. People will not be research maybe searching by this name. And where do they research? The tool is Google Scholar for papers, for research papers. And for a researcher, the tool is Google Advanced Search. Again, I'm repeating that you need to know about these tools. Do not mention it in your research. You do not mention it in the paper, but you need to know it by yourself. Of course, you need to tell yourself by using for using these. Coming to the point of distinguishing between an applied and doable research and a non-researchable topic, it is again very important, because I have seen many people dropping out of doing such the level of, why. I'm afraid that last time they were really good questions, but they was not this question which I was expecting. That why our region, especially the Islamic world, or I should not be very stereotypical about using the word Islamic world. I should use the words Eastern research institutes, or this region particular. Why we are lagging behind in research? There is one sentence to answer it, and that is the quality of research we are doing, and the topics on which we are doing our research. They are not solving or doing anything. They are not doing good. They are not up to the level that it will end up giving someone something. To give it perspective, I was just reading a book a little while ago before the session. This is, I think my video is mirroring, you will not be able to see it. This is 700 years of medicine, the Bologna School of Italy. The book is quite comprehensive when it comes to knowing or researching about medicine, the past 700 years, how the process of evolution of medicine basically came to what we have now at this particular last 700 years. Starting from the Bologna School. Maybe you would know about the Bologna School in Italy. It all started from there, where you need to understand that it is a book, quite impressive. The research is quite good. The materials are quite expensive, but it is a book. It is not a research paper. So now you understand what is the difference between a book and a research paper, research article. A book which is explaining the last 700 years of medicine, surgery, and research it is very good topic for writing, but it is good enough only for a book. It is not good enough to become a research paper, because a research paper is fine now. So a research paper does not go in back in times. It goes further ahead in time. It goes ahead in time. At least if your research is predicting or solving some of the problems of the present time or the next 5 to 10 years, your research is going to get what I have, alhamdulillah, got it through the course of my own researches. I have got why I have received these awards. I have been able to, or maybe found something somewhere so complicated to explain to people, that why I was given such awards and why did I receive such of the things which I have. Because I initially I also didn't understand that why me. It is because somewhere I was able to understand it a little after the course of my research, that it solved some of the problems of the present times or maybe the coming 5 to 10 years. This is not going to solve anything. The book is good. The 700 years of medical science and surgery, very good. But now I think questions, and they should be asked after my, I will spare some time for questions. Now the time that you are able to write the abstract, it is quite simple. If you would give me, because now I am experienced enough to write abstract, you give me any topic and I'll be able to write the abstract maybe in 2 minutes. Things are not complicated. We make things complicated for ourselves. It is just for 2 to 5 minutes that you can write up the abstracts. Things are so simple. I do not need to give you a presentation of a PPT, PowerPoint presentation of a 50 slides to make you understand what abstract is, when it can in a couple of minutes, 120 seconds, or maybe 5 minutes. Why you need to waste so much time on a thing that can be done so simply? Things are made complicated. Why? Because we are the people who would try to value complications rather than valuing easiness. If something is given to you with so much of ease, you will go and undermine the thing. You will do this. Human nature. I'm just saying that it is human nature. Humans are complicated beings, confused beings, and at the end, I would say they are, one thing which goes in their favor is they are curious, and curiosity is always good in research. Now, coming to the next point, which is an even important point, research paradigm. Research paradigm is something, maybe if you want to note this down, I would allow it. Research paradigm is not research methodology, first of all. Adhere to the difference between a research paradigm and research methodology. A research paradigm is research philosophy that is used in research. There are different philosophies of research. You use different philosophies as a researcher on your own self and on your object, which is research. Now, what are those major? I will only describe four of those because they are the major ones, major research philosophies or paradigms. Number one, it is constructivism. What exactly constructivism is? In epistemology, constructivism is that realities can be multiple. They can be multiple realities. By what does it mean? It means that as an outcome of your research, there can be more than one answers. There can be more than one or two or multiple outcomes. So realities can be multiple. For example, how to make you understand in simple words, um, a person you used to know, but now you are not in contact with the person. He came, you were going through the corridor, you're walking through the corridor, you saw the person and you thought that he also saw you, but he didn't say salam to you and he passed right across you, passed right across you. Became a little worried that why he didn't even say salam to me. What wrong did I do to him? As a result, you went home with all the negativity about the person in your heart. But again, something came in your mind. You thought maybe he didn't see me. That's why I thought that he saw me. I saw him, but maybe he didn't see me. Secondly, He was shy, maybe an introvert. People are introverted as well. Maybe he saw me, but he maybe was thinking, maybe I can get away with this. Maybe I'm not, comfortable enough. Maybe he was in some sort of stress or tension. Maybe he was in hurry or emergency. So, multiple realities. One particular situation can have multiple outcomes, or realities can be different. It cannot be what you perceive reality to be. It can be very well something else what you are perceiving it to be. So this is one philosophy of research, that as a result or outcome of research, your particular research, the outcome can be multiple, or the outcomes can be more than what you are going to find out in your hypothesis. Secondly, a research paradigm or research philosophy is called positivism. Positivism is about propagating or believing in only one reality. That reality cannot be multiple, it can only be one. So there should be one outcome of research. The hypothesis is null hypothesis, or the hypothesis of acceptance. Yani, it should be yes or no. There cannot be something. And this research philosophy, positivism, or now we are into post positivism. We are not anymore in positivism. We use the word post positivism now. Both are almost the same, like modernity and post modernity. Although there is a difference, but in research philosophy, it is almost the same. So you that reality can only be one. Now, it is a philosophy used in applied experimental sciences. All the sciences, including medical science, engineering, people mostly prefer this particular research philosophy. Why? Because they think that a person is least biased or unbiased in by conducting the research through this research paradigm. If constructivist paradigm, he might become a little biased because he knows that maybe multiple realities can be multiple, the outcomes can be multiple. So I can, the things which I am inclined to, for example, talking about social sciences. If you are doing research in religion, as a Muslim, if you are doing research in Islam, you will be biased towards Islam, right? You will have some, connection to the object of research, right? So that is where, so that constructivism is mostly used. That is why constructivism is mostly used in social sciences. And in medicals and experimental sciences, we basically use post positivism or positivism. The third one is pragmatic. Now, pragmatic is a mixture of positivism and constructivism, a mixture of both. In a sense that you are able to distinguish between the two, and also agreeing to the fact that realities either can be multiple or either can be singular as well. So in pragmatic, one of the most ideal research paradigm which can be used. Why I'm telling? Because you need to mention it. Nowadays, you need to mention it. There is a proper chapter of research methodology in your thesis or dissertation. Or nowadays, of course, it is also a norm to mention it in your research project or paper as well. So what basic paradigm you are using in your research. So pragmatic is the safest one for the researcher. No tension or stress regarding explaining yourself, of course, when you need to defend your research. If you have used constructivism or positivism, it might become a little difficult to defend it. But for the people, it can be defended. But just I'm saying, to be safe, on the safer side, people use the pragmatic philosophy. And then the last one is participatory. Participatory is basically a research philosophy in which the outcomes of different researchers are joined together to form one reality or multiple realities, both. So it is something which is a group research. It is not used an individual research. Group research की बात यहाँ पे नहीं हो रही. So we are talking about individual research. Group research can be discussed later. So I will not waste time in going into further details of it. Once you have understood the basic paradigms of research and its philosophy. Now it is a time to move on research methodologies. I will keep. I will not go into so much of detail today. I will just keep it till research methodology, and afterwards, the last session will be on something else. So, research methodology, again, it is one of the most important components of research. In in most, I say that normal understanding is should be the right word. The normal understanding of people, research methodology is just telling is your research is qualitative or quantitative, and that is research methodology in normal understanding of people. This is what research methodology is all about. It is not this. It might be a part, a very minute, a miniature part of it. It can be, but it is something very different to it. A research methodology basically is the notion or idea of, I should say that the basic concept of research. For example, when you choose your topic, you have already chosen your research methodology by choosing a particular topic. Because when you decide a particular topic, you are telling through your topic or through your title that your research will be either a case study, either a theoretical analysis, comparative analysis, a grounded theory, is something of a discourse analysis, maybe in social sciences or maybe in experimental science. Your discourse analysis can be used. Why not? Some things are considered taboo, by the way, which I will explain later. But by choosing the topic, you are telling your peers that I have chosen the research methodology as well already. I have chosen it. Sometimes a researcher goes on mentioning his research methodology in the topic as well. For example, you will find many topics which mentions a case study. This word, a case study, the topic of the research, and it ends with the phrase a case study. It is research methodology, explaining just by one word. He has explained, the researcher, he or she has explained the research methodology. And now the vastness of this one word is huge. Again, he can also explain a discourse analysis on the notion of, or the idea of understanding different diseases and their connection to a particular drug or food. Can be anything, but the word discourse analysis, again, it is used as research methodology. Again, they are the which I will use the most famous one. Then now I'm going to just describe those research methodologies. Number one, as I already told you, case study. Case study is the most common one. A case study basically is studying the case. The name is very self-explanatory. The case, for example, there comes a case in front of you, and you are studying a patient or his disease or his symptoms. Now you develop a case on that particular patient. You end up doing more deeper analysis of his symptoms and his interaction to the particular drug or a particular diet. You end up extracting some results, and now you are going to compare those results with the pre-existing data which you already have from the papers or the books that have been written before. And as a result, you form a new case with with your this particular research, and it will be called a case study. Similarly, in comparative or discourse analysis, you are going to make a cross section of your research by comparing two or more things, or by trying to refute or trying to debunk a particular pre-existing idea. That idea can very well be well established or cannot be well established as well. For example, there was an idea, and there were people who even tried to debunk Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. They were also, and sometimes, there is a very famous quotation of Albert Einstein. As someone came to him and said to him that there has been, I have came to know about a research that 100 scientists are writing a book against Albert Einstein and his ideas of relativity. He said, why 100? If they are right or their idea is right, only one should be enough. That is correct. That is correct. Why 100? There even one should be enough. So this is the power of one discourse analysis. Also coming to the most, what should I say, the most, in my opinion, it is the most crucial one, which is the theoretical analysis. Theoretical analysis also can also come up and end up like an experimental analysis, a part of research methodology that is based on developing a new theory, a theory that can come up and solve a particular problem. Now, these are aligned with qualitative or quantitative data. They are data analysis techniques which are like, as I told you, things might not should get too complicated, so I'm explaining it once again. The data analysis techniques are what? Grounded theory. They can be phenomenology. Phenomenology is studying the phenomenology, and grounded theory regarding the theory, theoretical analysis. Also, qualitative, quantitative data. It is also the form of data that is used in your research. Just to give you the overview of what qualitative and quantitative data is, a qualitative research, if you have chosen this particular ideology in your research methodology, qualitative data allows you to make your own assumptions or presumptions in your research. You can very well come up with the data, and at the end, you will be able to comment on your data. In quantitative research, you are obliged to stick with the data that you have received as a result of your research. You can conduct the research, you can make questionnaires, you can ask the questions, of course, but you cannot give your opinion on what you have received except for what the outcome of the research was. Purely statistical, quantitative, and qualitative is purely by the name that it suggests that you can conduct an interview of a person and then analyze information that you received, maybe in the form of data, quantitative data and also qualitative data. Qualitative data, of course, you have understood, can be anything related to books, interviews, and I also told you the examples of maybe sometimes social media information as well can also be quoted now. Also, once you have sorted these two things, now comes the point when you are maybe some people get stuck. I have to agree to this point. Some people do get stuck on research methodologies, whether they should use quantitative or qualitative data analysis techniques. I should say again, as I told you, do choose the pragmatic research paradigm. I can say use mixed method, also an option in research. In research methodology, there is an option called mixed method research. Mixed method research is used by combining both qualitative and quantitative data. Very easy, no complications. You can do both. You can use quantitative and data as well and qualitative as well, meaning you can give your opinion. You can go up and interview people and do surveys, and as a result of the survey, you can give, of course, make up a theory as a result of the survey. Easy peasy. In simple words, there are many ways. If you are encouraged enough, enthusiastic and aspired enough to do the research, ways are there. There are many ways to do it, and all very well established and accepted on all over the academic worlds, whether we be it be the Western academia or of course here as well in the Eastern academia. Now when you have decided and done with the part of the chapter of research methodology, and this, by the way, again I'm repeating, is a complete chapter. Research methodology something of a formality. Nowadays, as I told you, that there are components. I have already gone through some components of research, which by starting the title and the abstract, and then the introduction, and then the research methodology. Then, of course, comes to the analysis, which is the theoretical or critical analysis. There is this fourth component, and then conclusion and discussion. These are the 5 components of research. When you are doing a degree, it is internationally established research methodology. In experimental sciences, there is a very well-established research methodology. You start with the concept, of course, title, of course, you go to the hypothesis, you make multiple hypotheses, then you do the research and experimentation, you come up with results, and at the end, you find the conclusion. This is a 5-step method. Very well developed, you do no complications at all, 5 steps. Again, in research methodology, you need to develop a full chapter of research methodology and then tell that what have you done, what have you opted for. There are no limitations, there are no hurdles. You can very well use anything. Somewhere in a mind of a researcher, this comes up as a hurdle, or somewhere it comes up as something which will halt your way in your research. It is not like this. You can very well use the pragmatic philosophy. You can very well use the mixed method. What excuse you have now? You have no more excuses. Why we haven't seen the next Albert Einstein from the East? We haven't even seen something from the Eastern Web Academia. We haven't really seen it. Maybe there might be some people, and I do plan to introduce those people. Very few, but still, I'm trying to be being optimistic, which is very important to encourage students. But if there is nothing being done, of course, there is an opportunity to do something. When there is so much saturation, so much of a saturation in the society. Of course, in the West, you go and you find so many people doing researches and doing those projects. Of course, they do get the grants very easily. Getting grants here is a little difficult. There it is very easy. So there is more saturation there. So doing the work is more difficult. But here there is no saturation at all. So when there is no saturation, the water is available for you. You need to just add the solute in the solvent and mix it up, make it up, do the molecules do their work, and come up with the product that you want to. I see no excuse from your side, or I see no excuse why the Muslim world, to be exactly saying and using it just for the before going to the question and answers, why the Muslim world is lagging behind. They have no excuse whatsoever, because there are so many ways. There is no hurdle. Maybe there can be something. I can understand money wise or monetary benefits wise, we are not aided enough, and we do not have enough monetary encouragement. But still, the people who have done work, they have also done it. If one can do it, then all can do it. If none can do it, then you should do it. Why shouldn't you do it? So just keeping it short to that point, because I think this much of information, if you are able to just digest it, it will be good enough for you. And not going to further details, just keeping it for the last and next session. And for that, I would now like to go on to the question and answer session. And something which is bothering you, or you want to ask regarding research, you're very well welcome to ask.
Okay. So, Sir Lukman Qureshi, he has asked the question. I have been researching on Palestine for more than a decade, and it only contains credible resources from the internet. Would publishing it as a research paper cause issues in my future career?
A question again popped up that the continuation says many of the academics who were they faced. I think I'm not seeing the question anymore. Let me check it.
Sir, it says many of the academics who were vocal about Palestine had been under scrutiny, according to many news reports.
All right, I understood it. So basically, writing or researching about Palestine again, to be, I need to give an honest advice, an advice which will help you. As much as we are connected or concerned about them, or heartfelt, all the emotions are with them, or our praise are with them. But if I am to be quite honest, the world which is perceiving this matter, and who are in charge of the information, the people who are in charge, they might not allow you to publish such. You can publish, I'm not saying you cannot. Even I published a paper on it. Even I did it. You can get that paper from me. It is available online as well. But again saying, and did it do anything? Did it harm me? It did not harm me. But maybe that is because I have reached a particular status, and people just see it as a research because people know me. But on the other hand, if you are just starting your journey, I would basically give you an advice of doing research on something. I'm not saying it's not researchable. In social sciences, it is researchable historically as well. And if you're a student of international relations or political science, then sure, why not? then you should do it. If you are a student of political science or international affairs, then you can do it. And you need to be as cautious as much as you want to be. Would it hurt you academically? I cannot make a comment right now because we the people are not in charge of the information line. Maybe your words can be expunged if you use such words, or they might stay as well. Sometimes they are expunged, of course. If you see on social media, they are expunged. So all these things have to be, we have to face it. So if you're talking about academically, I would advise you to avoid it for time being. But if you're talking about emotionally, then you should do it. It's up to you.
Sir, the next question is from Lukman Qureshi again, and he's asking, how can someone with ADHD generally ace writing research articles?
Look, basically what I will recommend in terms of, if you want to be the best, if you want to do a work which is to that level of excellence, that basically the 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 understanding of a particular thing, you know um, people are, it is very difficult for me even, seeing the result, and the people who are facing such issues. Or maybe there are some people who can say, or most of the people who can say these things. I will not say it's an excuse, but because it will be considered as a little harsh, I should say, because I'm being very cautious. Basically, I'm being very cautious. Somewhere I can say it is an excuse, and somewhere it can be said it is not, because many of the people might say the same thing. But I will say, if you pay proper attention, somewhere you are paying an attention. If someone is distracted somewhere in his life, at least he is paying attention to something. I cannot agree to this fact that he's not. He or she, if they claim that they have the attention being diverted all the time, they are paying attention somewhere. They are doing it. But at the point at which they wish to do it, they are not doing at that particular point. So I would say that the point where all your attention is, I think you might divert it to the point that you want it to be. To just sum it up, writing a research article is all field work. If you're not doing a theoretical analysis, it is all field work. It is all what you should have to do in the field. You should have to go in the field to do the research. If you're doing experimental research, especially, writing is just a formality. If you're doing experimental research, then writing is a formality. You just need to, you write the proceedings of a conference. You write the proceeding of a press conference or academic conference. You just write the whatever happened, you just write it up. This is what writing is. In experimental science, talking about, in terms of theoretical analysis, of course, you need to go through much of the literature, because you're going to you do the discourse analysis of it. And as a result, of course, you need to go through much of the literature and compare, and by comparing, you will do the critical analysis of it. So at the end, of course, you will be able to do it. It depends on your research methodology. In both, you need to do it in the field. By what I mean the field, by what you are reading, and you are in even in theoretical analysis, you are reading the book or research paper for the information, for the literature review of yours. And in experimental research, of course, you're doing the experiments, all both field works. And what is writing? Writing is just proceedings, formality, and writing it up. If we pay all the attention on writing, and pay no attention at all to what matters the most, which is the field work. Pay attention there, not on writing. Writing is just noting down the proceedings of what has been done, in a way of course, systematic way. So that's that.
Sir, the next question is from Tasbiha Fakr. She's asking, what aspects are the most important in research methodology other than participants and research design?
In research methodology, of course, one of the things which might be considered very important is your data analysis technique. Data analysis is one of the most important things in research methodology. It can be qualitative or quantitative. Again, going through the detail of the analysis techniques, the data collecting technique is qualitative or quantitative. Data analysis technique, again, it is either phenomenology, it is either grounded theory, it is either these things. Somewhere it can be go to the ethnic analysis as well. In social science, people also do ethnic analysis. Why not? Ethnic analysis can also be done. Ethnic, ETHNIC, ethnic. But it doesn't concern many people, so I'll explain it. They are much more as well. I didn't explain it because we're not going to do it anyway. So most of the most famous ones are, of course, case study, phenomenology, grounded theory. These are the data analysis techniques, and the most important, of course, is the data collecting technique. And then what do you do with the collected data? You analyze it. Both things go side by side. So either it is quantitative, qualitative, or mixed method, which is the combination of both. It is the most important thing. And again, of course, at the end, it is about how you do and how you adopt a technique of analyzing the data. So that is the most important thing.
Sir, the next question is from Tasbih Fakar. She is asking, why is it that much important to use recent researches in literature review but not old researches?
Like I gave the example of this book I was reading just now, Bologna School, medical school's book, the history of 700 years of medicine. Why would it concern me what happened 700 years ago? It will not concern me at all. Why have what happened 200 years ago? Would it just giving a simple example, how did our first tire came into being? Car tire, right? Tire jo hota hai. How did it came into being? Would that solve any of the problems of the people of the present time? It will not solve. How did electricity was made? Very important and very exciting information. Electricity is one of the things which revolutionized this world. But now, is it necessary for me to know? I need to know more about electromagnetism rather than how electricity was first made. I can know, of course, electricity is also present in human beings as well. It is present in all the living creatures as well. So I don't need to maybe know about what happened in the past. What happened, it has already been done. So the what happened right now is the thing that will help me in the present and in the future as well. So the researches that have been done in the past 3 to 5 years, and I'm just giving this timeline because maybe 5 years is little too much. In For me, it's a little too much. For new researchers, it might not be. So I for me, 2 years is 2 to 3 years is the ideal timeline. But for you, maybe, or for the people who are doing just new to research, they might go to 5 years, to the extent of 5 years. Why this timeline? Of course, it will be something, sometimes it also happens in research that what the topic that you are about to research on, that was recently done or recently was worked on already. For example, just past month, Dr. Shoaib Ahmed Malik, who is a very good friend of mine from UAE, he contacted me and he said me that I have one of my students from India. He is about to do a research work on a topic on which you have already done the research. And he referred that student of his to me. He contacted me and he said that I'm going to do research on this. And when I told him that I have done the research already on this particular topic, he was surprised because he didn't see the latest research, the later researches. He was roaming around 2, 20, 50 years before, but he didn't see what has been done already in the past couple of years. So that was where maybe he had done the work for 6 months or so, and all his work was wasted because he didn't see right at the beginning of his research in the literature review that what was done in the last 2, 3 years. So that is why.
Sir, the next question is, how can we ensure the reliability and validity of data collected in mixed method research design?
The data that you collect, the resources are there are type of resources I told previously as well. The most reliable can be the primary sources. Of course, primary source is the most reliable one. What is a primary source? Primary source of data is is the source from where the concept is coming from. For example, just giving a very simple example, in Islam, what is the primary data, a primary source of data? It is Quran and also Hadith. And what is the secondary data? Secondary are the fiqh book of fiqh, the book of fiqh that has been extracted from the primary data, that is Quran and Hadith, and made into a new form. So that is the secondary form of data. And there are tertiary forms of data as well. Quote after quote, quote over quote. So you are quoting something out of the first primary data, and then the secondary one, and then the tertiary one. Now, which is the most reliable one? Primary. The least reliable one is the one which is at the end of the tree, at the end of the tree of the data. So that is how you will be able to find out the reliability of data. So go for the primary sources, and then if it is something that you have collected, now the referencing, it is somewhere the citation and the methods of citations, they also tell you sometimes that how reliable your data is. For example, I always do encourage people to do ethical research, but somewhere or sometimes I also see people doing, fraudulent works as well. They do not conduct a survey. They do not conduct the survey or interview, and they just what should I say? They just fabricate it and then quote it in their research. That is not the way. That is one of the reasons why we are lagging behind, because we do not ensure the ethical aspect of research. So this is how, if you have done you do done and followed all the processes of doing the research, the survey, and conducting through the questionnaires or maybe doing interviews, all these things can ensure the reliability of your data. More comprehensive your survey was, the more comprehensive your interview might have been, or your questionnaires were, it will become more reliable. Questionnaires can be as many as 100, 200, 500 even. The more questionnaires they are, more reliable the data becomes. So whenever you're doing, making questionnaires, you just must distribute it to as much people as possible.
The question is, currently I am working to make a research proposal for international scholarship. So, if the best scale is paid and the other scales somehow are not fitting perfectly, what should I do?
Of course, you should go for it. The scales in the beginning, the scales don't matter. They might matter maybe some years after you are into it, but in the beginning they shouldn't matter, because the purpose should always be attaining the experience, and attaining the versatility in you, and getting the opportunity whenever it comes. Of course, the opportunity need to be good enough. It needs to be. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be, but if it is good enough and it is not according to your wishes at this moment, it's not a point of concern initially. It might become a point of concern after some years, but not now. Of course, it's not. It's at this moment, the most important point is that gaining that versatility and that experience. That most importantly, that exposure, which is the most important thing, which you will not get elsewhere, is the most important thing. Just go for it. Go for with the intention of going for the exposure, not for anything else.
Dr. Zain Abbas is asking, Sir, kindly tell us how we can read your research papers.
Well, you do one thing that I told previously too, that just Google up my name. There are two ways. Either you use Google, simple Google, and the right spellings of my name are mentioned under my name here, I guess so. OMERFAROOQSAEED. And you type it, and of course, all the data, my books, and might be some research papers might also pop up. But if you only need to read the research papers, go to the googlescholar.com, and then type my name there, full name, and then you will be able to read all of my papers there, inshallah.
Sir Ushna Iman is asking, what are the common mistakes you think we should avoid when writing an abstract?
The most common one, of course, is over explaining. You should not explain it more than what it is required to be explained. Explain it just, you do not even need to explain anything. Just give the main idea. Just the main idea. Abstract, the more longer you make it, the more difficult it becomes. So make it as brief as possible. Do not make it too long, maybe more than 200 words. No, no, don't go beyond 200 words. And also do not try to over explain anything. Just give the main idea and just mention your tools, research tools, and just that's it. But just do not over explain it.
Sir Lukman Qureshi is asking, I am a logician and base my research mostly on conceptual expansion, connecting two or more seemingly related or unrelated research to reach a conclusion. Could this provide an edge for me?
It can, to some extent, it can, because being, the logicians are from, if I say that they are different eras of it, eras of research or different paradigms of being a logician, or also logical explanation, or a or the conceptuality of a particular research, a point of conjunction that comes before us. These are basically or mostly based on conjecture. When these conjectures are then researched upon and then they are more simplified, they can become some of, sometimes people use some philosophical tools. Those philosophical tools includes using Occam's razor. Sometimes people can use, these are those of, then it becomes a question of subjectivity or objectivity. I'm not into doing such long philosophical debates, but it can be helpful. It can be helpful because of the history to it, the history to what you have been conceptually trying to expanding the two researches, or the two ideas. Basically, I will not say research, two ideas, and these ideas can make up into a new form or reality, and it can be helpful. It is a good point and good way to research. It might help. I hope so.
Sir Tasbih Fakir is asking, in psychology research, there are always some extraneous variables affecting the dependent variable. How can we say that results are valid?
Well, when there is a variable, and of course it is dependent variable, you will need to know that the values or maybe the outcomes, if they are variable, for example, you will be able to distinguish between two outcomes of your ideology or your idea. The idea which is being researched upon might have more than one or multiple, what I said and explained previously as well, that it can come out, and it does fall under the category of constructivism. So it is variable. It is fine. Do not need to worry about the validity of the research when you know that in a research paradigm or a research philosophy of constructivism, it can be multiple, it can be variable, it can be dependent or independent of each other as well. So in constructivism, in research, all are recognized and well accepted. So if you're doing a post positivist research, then it might become problematic. But I would again say that to you to adopt a good paradigm, a paradigm which is supportive of your research. So that is the key. Adopt the paradigm which is supportive of your research.
Sir, the next question is, what are the potential biases and challenges related to self reported data, and how do you think we can avoid it?
Well, by if I am to understand it correctly, the word self-reported data might mean that the data which you have reported by yourself, or you have studied it, and at the end of it, you are giving your own analysis or your own interpretation of the data. Interpretations are very subjective. I do not disagree to this point, but is subjectivity somewhere condemnable? I would say also researches have been done on this notion as well, that is biasness even a bad thing or a good thing, or it can be avoided or even it cannot be avoided. And the research result, I'm not going to the detail of what research is, but the outcome or the result of that research is, for a human being, it is not possible to be unbiased at all. A human being will always end up being biased. Whether the extent of biasness may vary or might vary, but all the people who even say that we are unbiased down in our research, deep inside they are biased. So according going with the psychology of a human being, he cannot be she cannot be unbiased. Biasness is a part of human being. It is not something condemnable, and it is a well researched and accepted fact now, that biasness is not something condemnable. You can say one thing, that make it as little or as least as possible, but you cannot let it go and just take it out of you or throw it out of you. It is not possible.
Sir, the next question is, what type of research is Darwinian evolution?
It can be both. It can be philosophical as well and scientific as well. By scientific, I mean experimental as well and philosophical too. As in combining both of these, I might say that it becomes mixed method, because the type of research in Darwinian evolution, of course, it's all about biology. It's all about biology and experimentally finding out what exactly a Darwinian evolution or the theory of evolution holds. So I would say using only that will might come up to be a little problematic. So what I did when I researched about it, I used the word philosophical and scientific analysis. So both go side by side, and if both are used, I think it becomes more feasible. So I think it can go side by side, both philosophical and scientific, meaning experimental and narrative as well. By narrative and descriptive, I hope you understand. Narrative and descriptive research is the one which tells you or explains the narrative, and then either dissects it, or maybe or just explains it up. Descriptive research either can be dissecting or either can be explanatory. And if it is explanatory, it can come up to be only descriptive. And if it is not explanatory, it is dissecting, then it only stays to the paradigm of narrative research plus a discourse analysis as well.
Sir, Junaid Iqbal is asking, Sir, kindly guide me how I can write an introduction of research article effectively.
Introduction of research article, if I understood it correctly, in your research article you want to write the introduction. You will provide all the data, all the basic idea, and after the idea you will give the information on your topic. And again repeating, this is not even the point of research. This is not the point of research. The point of research is, whatever you are going to do, you do it in the field first. Whatever you do in the field, you will do it by your hands, and afterward you will just write up the proceedings of your fieldwork. You need to write up the proceedings of your fieldwork. Repeating for the third time, you need to write up the proceedings of your fieldwork in your research paper. This is what research is all about. It is not that you should start with the title paper, abstract introduction, research methodology, and then going on further to the conclusion, and that is research. It is not research. Research is field. So you should pay attention to that. An introduction, of course, includes every detail in a small quantity, details in smaller quantities, and that should be enough, inshallah.
Okay, sir, the next question
I
is,
think if the
conceptual framework matters.
it
Sir,
can
the
matter, why
last
not? It
question
can.
is, conceptual framework. Okay, okay. Sir, so there's a last query. By one question is asking, if someone has a bunch of credible information and unofficial research in a particular field without having an educational background in it, so should or could he write and publish an article on it?
Why not? Why not? It can be. Who says that one needs to be affiliated? One needs to be affiliated. There is a word, the word or the sentence maybe is called independent researcher. What was Albert Einstein when he wrote General Relativity? He was independent researcher. researcher. Of course, when he wrote special relativity, then he was affiliated, but before that he was an independent researcher. So why did we make such a honorable word called the independent researcher? It is for usage. So use this word. There is no excuse of not publishing or writing up. So you can very well do it. I think there is one more question I can see. What is the clear distinction between research gap and rational? Rational is the significance. Rational is the significance and importance of the topic, that you need to provide the basic reason why you're doing this research. How will it benefit, or what is it is going to provide to people? What problem solving it will do? And research gap is finding the gap of the research by serving the data, the literature, and after serving the literature, you identified a gap, a research gap, and that research gap you are going to fill that gap. And this is where you need to just write it up in the sense, in a sentence or points. So research gap is always written, or mostly written in points, while rational is written in the form of paragraph. So just the difference of explaining it and just summing it up.
Okay, that's it for today, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Umar. It has been a great session with you, understanding a versatile variety of aspects about research, and we are thankful that you patiently answered the queries and questions of every viewer. And hopefully, we will be meeting on day third and successfully concluding our bootcamp, inshallah. And to all the viewers, drop down your queries and feedback in comment section, like and subscribe our channel, and we will meet you on day third, inshallah. And نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Allah Hafiz everyone.